call our meeting to order. Before we go any further, I'd like to make sure that everyone remembers the McDonald family. Mayor Roy McDonald passed away yesterday, and family needs all the prayers that we can give. He was mayor for 26 years, so 20 years on the council plus. So he's been involved in the city business for 30 years. And that's all. Look, we get paid. Everybody else here gets paid a whole $1 a year. So $30 for all that work he did. And he was a good Christian man. Brought a lot of people to know Christ, I'm sure. Anyway, we have a quorum of present, and please stand for the invocation and pledge allegiance.
Heavenly Father, again, we thank you for the day. What a great day we've had. Lord, thank you about the McDonald family. Our hearts are heavy, kind of, sort of, for Rome, but we know he's in a lot better place up there in Miss Bernie right now, Lord. We just thank you for his witness. I've known him all my life, and we just thank you so much for his service, not only at Calvary Baptist Church as a deacon, but McDonald Baptist Church also as a deacon. He's touched many, many lives in his city career, DuPont career, and his church career here in West Orange. We just thank you so much for knowing that family. We actually be with Beverly and T-Roy as they make arrangements in their time of grief, Lord. I know it's a blow to them. But we just ask you to be with them in a very special way, like only you can. I ask you to be with us as we go through this meeting, Lord. That we would have that you would give us the wisdom we need to take care of the city's business like you have us. Thank you. Everybody works over here in this building and the buildings across the street. Lord, be with our police department, every call they make, that you just let them keep them safe. And our volunteer firemen and women, we just ask you to be with them in a special way as they take care of the fire things and safety things here in the city. That's my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to these Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please be seated. Moving on to our consent agenda. I'd also like to remind everybody, please sign in. If you haven't already, sign in at the table. Everybody's door. Move on to our consent agenda. Discussion of possible action on approval of the minutes of July 13th, 2026 and July 20th, 2026 council meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for July 13th, 2026 and July 20th, 26 with a revision, and the July 2026 to retract Mayor Pro Tem's statement that's in there. Mayor Pro Tem was not present. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. All right. Time now for public comments. This time, comments will be taken from the audience on any subject matter, whether or not that item is on the agenda. All comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes for each speaker. If more than one person wishes to address the same subject, a spokesperson must be selected who will be recognized to represent the group. The comments are appreciated. The Texas Open Meetings Act does not allow the council to discuss items not listed on the agenda. However, if possible, your questions may be answered with statement of policy, statement of fact, or it may be placed on a future agenda for attention by council. You also may be directed to the appropriate department head to address your questions or problems. If anyone would like to speak right now? All right, we're going to move on. Reports and comments. City staff.
Mayor, for last month, our construction project, the wastewater treatment plant is 88% complete and on schedule. railroad crossing at Burnett is complete. The building official issued 11 permits, no new permits, 23 were closed out. Sanitation hauled 18 loads of green waste and 1 load of C&D to the landfill. Animal control took 95 calls, 10 intakes, 1 claimed, 4 adopted, and 12 rescued, with 1 court filing. The street department continued to patch streets and driveways, and they also cleaned 1,600 linear foot of ditch. Parks employed the mowing and debris pickup continues. Also, the grant application to the Texas Parks and Wildlife was submitted last month. So we have not seen it in the portal, but we will follow that. Probably in the next week or two, it'll show up and we can start tracking. That's all I've got.
We're gonna hurry up and wait for it.
Yeah. For the police.
Familiar with that? Tracy, you had anything?
For the police department, there were 97 traffic contacts, 7 crashes reported, 12 arrests, 28 reports, 319 calls for service, 9,800 miles driven. Code enforcement violations investigated was 14, and 3 of those were filed with the court.
Holiday in the park booths are open to the public, and we encourage everyone to spread the word.
For the month of July, we responded to 1 trash fire, 1 natural gas leak, 1 accident, 5 service calls. We canceled 1 time, and we had 5 alarms. So a total of 14 for the month.
Thank you. Anybody? Oh. Okay.
I think it was before Gail was, elected to council. She came and did during the, opening, because she wasn't on the agenda, asked about putting a traffic signal light at Western Avenue and Irving. And I would like for that to be looked into somehow, some way. I come that way every day, several times a day, and there are so many people just running right straight through, not even stopping, not even slowing down. And I think that a 3-way red light there is necessary.
Thank you. So we're gonna move into our regular session, discussion of possible action on extending variance to ordinance number 302F, issued to Allen and Crystal Banks. Allen and Crystal Banks. There you go. So you wanna go ahead and get started discussing that?
I turned in the paper, from Brian, giving them permission to share that amount.
So, Chris?
My concern is it's just a signature on the paper, we don't know really who that is, not suggesting it's not really signed. But I think at a minimum, I would recommend it be notarized and signed by city staff or something, just to confirm that's who it is.
I think we had asked you to do that, it wasn't asked to be notarized, but if he doesn't have any questions, you can call him. He was from Liberty. He's with his mother-in-law.
I think it's minimum that needs to be notarized. It's not your property,
Right.
and, I mean, legally, you would need something from him. Just notarize and says, yes, it's okay to do that, just to let
It's for your protection as well, and if he comes back and says, I didn't give him permission to tear my house down.
They finally coming out there, stuff out.
Right, but you see what I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm him.
It's me, thank you.
I just said he signed, he didn't get another number.
note that you left saying it's okay to tear it down, is just that it's a note, but it's, you know, it needs to be notarized, right? That means that you and he will need to sign it, and release you. Well, maybe you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think just something proving that street, you know, is there a lien on the house? The last deed on the appraisal district record shows it was a vendor's lien, but that was 19 years ago, so it could have been paid off.
Something else to
Yeah, look into,
make sure that
I hear you.
everything leaves.
There could be
Yeah.
all in order.
Yeah, there's still a vendor, still a vendor.
Yeah, that's how it's been made, but there could be a release that's on file too. We just might want to check with the Orange County Clerk records.
That's all for we can do, or how we want it.
That's on the address that's 1122 Albany.
No, the county clerk's office is at the courthouse downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
courthouse.
the courthouse.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And you can, if you look it up on Orange CAD, you can see what the page number and everything is for it, and they should be able to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on, a presentation by Mr. Michael Bourgeois regarding the condition of neighboring property at 5009 Lawndale, along with stray cat problems originating from the same business. Mr. Bourgeois?
Yes, sir, I have some pictures,
Okay.
will be related to what I'm gonna be telling you guys, and y'all can just pass them around. And this is also, there's some curves, which I want to discuss. I just need to stand before the audience.
We can go to the podium over there.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to my grievances. I know you people have a thankless job, but the city could not run without you, so thank you very much. I was on the agenda last month, and I didn't show up because I kind of misunderstand how the process works. Sorry about that, I wasted your time. But there's a big thing about that, in that extra month I had, Chuck actually took care of the cat problem. I mean, he must have picked up about 20 stray cats, at least 20 stray cats. And the whole issue was the cats coming to my yard and doing their business, and I have a dog. And the dog goes out in my yard, you know, does his business, but for some reason dogs like to chew on cat food. I don't know what the deal is. And my dog got sick with a parasite, and $1,200 vet bill later, he's better now. So this is what started this whole thing. It was then I was decided, you know, we gotta do something. I mean, all day and all night you hear cats having their little cat sex parties, or they're running around, or they use the yard, you go and mow, you step in cat food. And it was just, well, he got at least 20 of them, so that's been pretty much resolved. I hadn't seen any cats in my yard for now about 3 or 4 days, and the only thing we see is a possum, raccoon, and a nutria rat I saw a couple of nights ago. And that's because of the condition of the property. I gave you the pictures next door, and, you know, my wife and I, we've lived there for about 50 years, and we've always tried to get along with our neighbors. And the whole area was designed to be a subdivision, not a business. And for some reason, he operates a sign business next door. And if you look at some of the pictures, he has all this junk back there. If you look at the front yard, he's got an overgrown garden. And for some reason, my other neighbor gets a ticket for high grass, but he operates this, I call it a dumping ground or something. If you just look at the backyard, you can see. And I don't know what kind of storage he thinks he's stored there. I don't know if any of those are hazardous materials. I'm really not sure. And there's one picture of a curb. That's where he drove his big boom truck onto his yard and run over the curb in front of my house, and the curb's all broken. You know, he has no regard for his neighbors, no respect for his neighbors. In
back when I was discussing the cat problem with him, he said, oh, you know, cats roam. I said, well, that's fine, but the cat come over and use my yard as a litter box, my dog gets sick, and it's costing me money. So, you know, I've tried to talk to him before, but he just doesn't listen. And, I mean, just looking at the pictures, is that the kind of neighbor you'd like to live by? That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
And just so you know, it's not falling on deaf ears.
Oh, y'all can have those things.
We hear you.
It's just frustrating.
Yes, I agree with you, sir. All right. So we're gonna go into discussion and possible action on the purchase of a tender truck using grant funds awarded through the Rural Volunteer Fire Department Assistance Program, also known as HB 2604 grant program, and administered by the Texas A&M Forest Service.
Randy, can we back up just a minute? Do we have anything we can tell Michael that we're gonna look into it, or if there, what we can do about it at any time?
Yes, we can.
It's gotta be frustrating.
We'll get John to look into it, and also our code enforcement officer. That's why I said it's not falling on deaf ears.
All I know is Chuck needs a bunch. He got tired of coming to my house.
Yeah, I put one back on my house. I mean, I can just see rodents and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, they're good?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're into our discussion of possible action on purchase of tender truck. Using grant funds awarded to the Rural Volunteer Fire Department Assistance Program. All right?
I move that the city council approve the purchase of the Deep South fire truck as presented at a base purchase price of $482,200, which meets or exceeds the applicable minimum standards and specifications for firefighting vehicles established under the Rural Volunteer Fire Department Assistance Program, commonly known as the HB 2604 grant program and administered by the Texas A&M Forest Service. The purchase shall utilize the city's $300,000 HB 2604 grant award, subject to the applicable 95.5 cost share requirements and all other terms and conditions of the grant. I further move that council authorize payment of the applicable $1,500 buy board fee for a total authorized acquisition cost of $483,700, with the city's anticipated financial responsibility not to exceed $183,700, subject to final confirmation of grant eligible costs and requirements by the Texas A&M Forest Service. I further move that the Public Works Director be authorized to facilitate the lawful disposition of Engine 10 in accordance with applicable city policy and Texas law, and that all net proceeds received from the disposition of Engine 10 be applied to offset the city's financial responsibility associated with the acquisition of the new fire truck.
He has a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? How much did you say that the city would be responsible for?
$183,700, and then, John and I called, Garage on Friday, which is a, emergency response vehicle, brokerage firm. John, would you like to talk about that, or do you want me to share?
Well, just a little information that we provided to the broker. He was able to determine that the market value for the truck, the chassis, the size of the tank, the mileage, everything was $130,000. That was the market value.
With a $13,000 fee for it.
Yes, they charge 10% of whatever the city decides to put the truck on the market at. So you get to set the price. So you set it low, it'll go fast. You set it high, it might sit there for several months.
He said that without a formal appraisal, which they will provide at no cost, but we can't do until we, authorize John to submit the information on the truck for that. But it would run, just looking at it now, $110,000 to $170,000, just based on what he knows now. And we asked what the turnaround time was on those, and he said they're about 28 days is what the average is, and that we would, maintain possession of, the vehicle. So it wouldn't go off anywhere, we would keep it. It's still such a time. I did, give everyone in their packet, it says Deep South Fire Truck proposal at the top that shows what the, and just going at $100,000 proceeds from the sale of engine 10, which if we go with the standard configuration, is, the city's cost share would be $83,700, and if we went with, the 2-ton blue and silver like engine 1 is, then it would be $91,700. They do charge $8,000 for that paint, that paint job, and that's reflected in, the Fire Trucks of Texas, bid that was provided as well to all of you.
The charging is towards now, and they did.
Well, the chassis they got sitting down there is red.
So
They have a chassis sitting there waiting to be built on, but it's red.
how long will it take us to get the fire truck?
Depends on where it falls in line, a couple months, maybe. It'd be hard to say right this moment.
So if we
That
after,
chassis sitting there.
it would be after the fiscal year ends. Yes.
Potentially, yes.
Yes. You said a couple months, and,
Yeah, potentially, it's gonna be a couple months of the fiscal year. A couple months you'll be in the new year anyway.
yeah. That's right. All right. The only question I have, well, we have a procurement policy and a procedure. The city of West Orange is supposed to follow. And we did.
This is on by board.
I realize it's on by board, but this part of it, you went out for bids, got 5, 6 bids?
I had, 3 prices on hand right now.
What were those prices?
Sid Martin's for,
We have that.
for,
524? 524?
We've had a.
oh, yeah. That's the BME truck, which is, that truck's built to demo right now. It's a little smaller truck, and it's, 524. Or actually, what I got today from him was 519, 413 on that truck. And then the other Sid Martin truck was a little bigger truck. It's on a Freightliner chassis. It's $551,815.
That's the only 3 bids you got?
That's the only 3 I brought with me, and I never got any more bid pricing, confirmed proposals from anybody else.
Right. I'm gonna read the part that we didn't follow our procurement procedure on. It says purchase of 100,000 or more must be accomplished through the formal invitation for bid or request for proposal process with a detailed written specification. The development of the written specification will be a joint venture between the department heads. The city secretary's office will create the bid form, advertise, and create contacts so that the invitations for bid or the request for proposals are well circulated. Receive and open the responses, initiate bid tabulation, and review the responses with the requesting departments. The department head will make a consensus award recommendation to the city council. You've done that. But the other part is if we didn't go through our city secretary at all, and nobody else reviewed the specifications unless Lanny and should have been, which should be part of the liaison.
I do have, those, we did those over at the fire department that day. And my understanding is that we went through by board, that we didn't even have to go out for bid. Is that correct?
That's correct, but the way buy board works is, you know, it's a specific vehicle, so you have to request that specific vehicle with those specifications,
Okay,
and that's how you back into it.
okay.
In the bottom of that, the bottom of 1.4 in the policy,
Mm-hmm.
it says, bidding is not necessary to buying or contract pricing system.
And I recognize that. Well, what about the other part, the development of written specifications of the joint venture between the public bidders? This our city's policy, it's our procurement policy and procedure.
Me and David are not department heads.
You are. You're exactly right, but did you get with John or Teresa or Mike, Kelly, department heads? All this is to protect the city, not just anything else. It protects the city from someone, protects the city from John going out and buying a big old truck that he wants, and it's on buy board, and then the city would be responsible for paying for it.
We didn't do that when we bought engine one.
Do what?
We did not do that when we bought engine one. We did, so you're saying that if John buys a dump truck, that he should get with me as well?
Should, yeah.
And if they order the car, lease for it, they should get with me as well.
You
Mayor,
well,
whenever we had that, I'm sorry to interrupt, but whenever we had the meeting with the fire department, John was there, and then, Mike and I were there with you as well. I'm a little frustrated, because you told him to go out and get bids, which he did. And if this was the city's policy, which I tend to disagree with, because it clearly says if you're using the contract pricing system, then bidding is not necessary, then we should have been provided this on that day. Because now we've got to go, if what you're saying is what we're gonna follow, now we have to go back and go through this whole process all over again.
no, I'm not saying that.
Well, you just said that we didn't follow procedure.
I'm bringing this up so that in the future, we follow the procedures that we're supposed to follow.
I think we need clear guidance from the city attorney or someone, because it clearly states bidding is not necessary buying off of a contract pricing system such as HVAC buy board, which is what this particular one is, or do we need to go through and have the city secretary submit the request through buy board? This seems like a conflict to me.
John, or Jimmy could go out and get a bid for $1 million truck. It's on HVAC buy board, that's okay?
Well, the council still has to approve it either way.
Yeah, that's fine. But this would stop any of that coming to us before we're ready to do anything. Like, I'm sorry, but that's.
Well, you told us to go out and get bids, which is what Cindy did. You sat in there and said,
I did.
go get bids, and that's what we did, and we brought it to you. We put a lot of work into this over the last month, a lot of work.
And I'm willing to say, we'll go in, if there's nothing illegal about it, Chris, you to be the lawyer.
Well, I mean, as a policy, and you could argue which part is saying when bidding is not necessary. He talks about the creation of the bid or request in the department head. Then the next one is the department head, determine the written specification. So the written specification set for the bid or not. I mean, the last sentence just says bidding is not necessary. So that, as long as it's complying with one of those boards, I mean, legally, I think you're okay. And then if you want further clarification of policy, we can revamp that or just revise it to make that clear.
Okay.
I just confirm that whatever's there was done.
The vehicle that is on buy board, like Beach South may have 10 vehicles that are on file. As long as the specifications fit one of those 10 vehicles, then you can purchase without, any issues.
Is that right, Sam? Yeah, we're okay.
We're okay. This is done every day by every manufacturer, school buses, ambulances, police cars. You buy your police cars right now on ACHC or by board.
I agree, and I just wanna make sure that in the future, we think about what we're going after and do it the right way.
The department heads, I don't see John come talk to me for a dump truck, or Stelly come talk to me about a police car.
That's not what it's about. That's not what it's about.
Well, that's what you said.
No. The department heads are supposed to be aware of what's going on. Spending a bunch of money can affect John's job and his budget and everything else. Just like John spent a bunch of money could affect yours or the police department. And to me, there needs to be a consensus within the city department heads to agree. And that's what to me, that's what it's saying is that everybody will agree with, you're gonna write the specifications. John and Mike might look through that, but they'll do whatever they wanna do with it. Say, okay, Sam, this is good, all right? And then we'll be following along with the procedure. If we don't have to go out for bids, if the truck that is over there fits the HVAC, by board, whatever it is, HVAC, if it fits that, then we're okay. The specifications for that particular truck follow along with it. I just don't want us to get in trouble,
Are there any, for that grant, are there any specific, bidding requirements for that? Because some grants do have specific.
No, you can, as long as you buy, the only thing it says, you gotta buy from a dealer inside the state of Texas. And it has a minimal set of specs, in which we're above that, according to the Forest Service specs.
Now, I believe that the specs that you got on the truck, you want me to buy, or do they perfectly fine? I think you're all over the board. Above and beyond what the Forest Service grant specs.
It's kind of, when we had our meeting back here, I told y'all we was in a crunch for engines because we want to stay away from the 2027 engine. So this is kind of where we're at.
Any other discussion? Okay.
In your motion, lady, you said that the city's portion is not to exceed 183.7, so that is for the red one, correct?
Unless it will, so if we decide that we want to do the blue and silver, then we have to do a second motion to allow for the 8,000.
But it's not addressed here.
Correct. It would be a it would be a second motion.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
John, are you comfortable with the process?
Yes, the process, yes. And knowing now how much we can get for that other truck, I think it should be contingent on that.
That's fine. That's one of my other questions, thinking about all this is, where are we gonna get the other $83,000, whatever it is? Does anybody have any answers for that?
Capital outlay, I don't know, yes.
Capital outlay.
That's well.
Unless you want to take out a loan for $83,000, which is going to end up costing more because you have to pay interest on it.
Anybody else got anything?
It just, if we wait a few years whenever we have no choice but to purchase a new fire truck, you're looking at $700,000, $800,000 that we're gonna have to pay completely out of pocket for, or now we have one that without selling engine 10, approximately, which I think we will, then we're looking at paying $83,000.
2 years from now, you're not gonna get one.
We won't get that, and it just, it doesn't make sense. It'd be a huge burden on the taxpayers of West Orange to expect them to pay $800,000 for something that we could have got for $80,000 or $83,000 a few years prior.
And I don't doubt that they're gonna go up in price.
They've already gone up since.
Just like everything else,
a year ago.
everything else is going up in price. So we have a motion, and we have a second. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah. Possible projected cost of selling our current fire truck is $183,700.
So,
No.
You know, we don't know what we can get for it right now. We have an estimate.
He said the market value for that vehicle is $130,000.
130, okay.
But we may get as much as $170,000.
And garage gets 10%, they call it a success fee, you don't pay if it's not sold.
And what do we do if it doesn't sell? We could just sit there for a long time.
It could,
So then we will be responsible still for the $183,700. Or will we not be able to accept the new truck until the old truck is sold?
Or in 5 years, when we have to replace that vehicle, we spend $900,000 when we could have spent $183,000. So that's that choice there too. Do you want the taxpayers to pay $183,000, or do you want them to pay $900,000?
Well, actually, we don't need this fire truck.
vote no.
Then
Well,
vote no.
I will, but
Vote no, so we
Then
can
vote
vote.
no. We'll just vote no.
And he's going after $800,000 or $900,000 price for fire truck is exactly what we were doing when we were talking about getting the new one that we had. You know, in 4 or 5 years, it's gonna be $1 million.
Now,
I
or
do have
usually where we just bought 4 years ago, we're gonna see right now is $1 million truck. 3 years.
But we're getting one for $482,000.
You're right, it's a commercial cab, it's a big difference between a commercial cab and a Dustin cab truck.
I mean, it's 2-door, not
It's a two-door.
I do wanna say this, that if we, I'm not in favor of the additional $8,000 for the paint. If that's added on to the price of what.
It would take a second motion.
Correct.
When do we need to make a determination of capital outlay or take a loan out? Or do we even need to worry about that?
Have you had a chance to talk to USDA?
Yes. It basically comes down to, they were the same interest rate as First Financial. They were exactly the same. The USDA has had a lot more criteria built around their program that we would have to fall in line with. They would either loan us based off of our tax revenue, which we would have to do, a certification, we would have to pay for, basically a rating of the city, since we've not taken out a loan and Lord only knows how long. The process for that, just going through the USDA, the minimum, duration was 64 days. That's business days. It could take as much as 153 business days, depending on how close to their system. With First Financial, they would hold the truck as collateral. They would be willing to loan up to $200,000 at 4.75%, for a 3-year term. And that would be done in less than 30 days.
If we was to lose this grant, if we was to tell them no, John and I and the mayor was in a meeting with Traylor and Associates. Traylor and Associates say that they have never heard of anybody being hurt and not get another grant because they did not accept it. And right now, this council right here, minus myself and the mayor, last month voted to add gaming machines to the city when we've been trying to reduce the number of gaming machines.
Hey, that ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Hold on. And you got a right to say what you want to say, don't ever.
It's $2,000 a machine, 5 machines, that's $10,000. I was told after the meeting, I voted for that because the city needs the money, $10,000.
That's right. That's exactly right.
The city still needs the money.
Absolutely.
I don't know, unless we take it out of the capital improvement fund, which is also our fallback when we can't pay our bills. We don't, when we get into October, November, and December, we don't have money coming in, not much anyway. We still get our sales tax, but our city, we can go ahead and buy that truck if that's what y'all wanna do. But I don't want the responsibility of being the one that put the city in debt. Might be 2 or 3 years from now, when the city can't pay all of its bills, because we used up all of the capital improvement fund paying bills.
Take a loan out instead of someone else take the loan.
Is the loan just secured by the fire truck, or they look for any revenues or obligations?
That was to the USDA, they would secure it by, taxable revenue. They wouldn't take the truck and pull out.
So is that done through certificates of obligation?
I'm sorry, what?
Is that done through certificates of obligation?
Yes.
Because the law on that can be kind of funny about, what you can pledge over multi-years.
Everyone here has enjoyed our good governor's, property tax reduction. You have a lot of politicians saying they're going to eliminate property tax. Dow DuPont has already cut what they pay us because the appraisal district has reassessed what they have. We have so much less money coming into the city right now than what we did just a few years ago. It's not physically responsible to go into debt at this time. It's just not. When things pick up, we can apply for another grant.
I've done
And
grant work
probably get
for 12 years, Jay, and Stranger Associates is my favorite grant company, I'll tell you that right now. I've dealt with them a lot. But I will tell you, I know personally for a fact, because I deal with fire departments day in and day out on grant work, and it is on an point system, and they do get denied because they turn down grants. It's all on a point system. If you turn something down, why did you have $300,000 and now you're applying for this for $200,000 for something else, for another truck? Why did you do that? It's points against you. Very, very competitive. I don't think that we probably won't see in our lifetime this opportunity again, where this much money is pushed out to rural volunteer fire departments again in our lifetime. This amount of money like this. It won't happen again. It won't. And this wasn't applied for. This was given. But it's the Texas Forest Service, and it will come back on them.
It is a great thing. There's no doubt the $300,000 is a great thing, but how is this city going to pay for it? How?
Take out a loan.
How are you gonna pay the loan? When we did our budget, I said, look, all of our budgets,
Well, you were
they
going,
total up
you
more
were
than
running around
what,
town saying that you wanted to pass a bond. Well, then you're gonna make the citizens of West Orange pay for a whole fire truck? Because bonds have to be paid back. I got so many phone calls this weekend about, what's this about a bond for a fire truck that J.O. is running around talking about?
well, who said that?
Several Cause we won't get it, they can't pass the bond until next May, and the grant expires. There won't be temporary funding, that should have been in last May, if we were gonna do that.
What is the deadline for this? Because we have an election coming up in November.
October this year.
It's not physically responsible to do this to.
Just vote your conscience.
I thought it always, we get a good sized chunk of money for our own fire truck.
After talking to Jeff, I'm very confident.
Yeah.
I think we'll know more tomorrow if you guys decide to dispose of that weekend. The old fire truck. I can get him all of the information that he needs, and he can run an estimate, do an appraisal, and, I mean, they've got a lot of vehicles that they push through there.
That would be the only way I would consider the, new fire truck is if we could get a sizable chunk of that money back from selling it again. Would you amend your motion to base it on what the appraisal for FD10, the official appraisal is for FD10?
Well, my concern with that, then we'd have to come back in a month after it sells, or what number are we looking at on the appraisal?
We don't have a clue. We don't.
I would say make it
I mean, I have I based everything on $100,000, the low end of it, after we pay a 10% fee. I did $100,000.
I mean, I'm the one that's doing the budget, and I just don't see, unless we can be pretty confident that we can get a sizable lump sum from the sale of FD10. I don't see, I need to know that before I feel confident with, going ahead, because what happens if they come and, I will give you $50,000 for it, $25,000 for it.
We spent a lot of time on garage the other day, looking at them, and they are, I kind of think it was a little bit low, the number that he quoted us based on what some of the other ones were. And if you look down further on the page, it shows what they sold for and how long they were listed, and most of them were a lot less than 28 days on how quickly they turned over. I mean, I can amend it for $100,000, but I mean, I don't, but even then, I mean, we still don't know if it's gonna sell for $100,000. I could amend it to $130,000, but what if we only get $120,000 for it? So does that kill the deal?
Amend it to $100,000 or more. Does that work?
I think we're gonna get it. I think we'll get it.
All right. Any other discussion? Sounds like we've whooped it to death, so let's move on. All right, let's call for vote. I'm gonna ask for a record vote for this. So, June?
Yes, I vote yes.
Lance?
Aye.
Aye. No. Jay, no. I'm gonna vote no. And Gail? Yes?
Aye.
Yes, okay, motion passes. That's a new fire truck. If we come, well, you wanna make another motion now? Did you say for the blue and silver paint job?
No, I don't need to die on that hill. I mean, it's already red. I mean, I'm not, I don't need to die on that hill. I'm fine with it.
Right.
It's a red fire truck.
All right, nothing else, we're gonna move on. possible action on acknowledging receipt of the statement of 2026, no new revenue and voter approval tax rates with corresponding worksheets. That's number 4.
Make a motion that we acknowledge the receipt of the statement of 2026 no new revenue and voter approval tax rates with corresponding worksheets.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Call for vote. Is this have to be record vote? Or is this later on? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried. Number 5. Discussion possible action on accepting into record the quarterly investment report for April through June 2026.
Make a motion to accept the record of quarterly investment report for April, June 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. All right. Item number 6. Discussion of possible action on approval of the 2027 Articles of Agreement between the City of West Orange and the West Orange Municipal Police Association.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2026-2027 Articles of Agreement between the City of West Orange and the West Orange Municipal Police Association, effective 10/1/26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, you're the one who negotiated. Are you okay with everything?
Yes.
I have a question, which I've already talked to you about. But it goes into effect 10/1/26, correct?
Yeah.
So my question is, why are we approving this now instead of waiting until after our budget workshop? Because wages are included in that.
There's not gonna be any change in wages.
It stays the same as last agreement.
Yes. The only update in here is saying that, if the city other than the police department gets raised, then they'll get the same raise as the rest of the city gets. 1, 2, or 3%, whatever.
I know we discussed it, I just kind of wanted to know.
Right. All right, so we have a motion and a second.
Yes, sir.
Is there any discussion? All right. Call for vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. All right. Item number 7, discussion of possible action on authorizing a proposal on an ad valorem tax rate by record vote and consider setting the date for a public hearing and the adoption of such proposal on a future agenda. Meeting agenda.
I move that we, by record vote, place a proposed tax rate of no greater than 0.424515 per $100 valuation on the Monday, September 14th, 2026, regular meeting agenda at 5 p.m. at City Hall, and set a public hearing on Thursday, September 10th at 5:15 p.m. at City Hall to receive comments on such proposal.
Second. Go ahead, Bruce.
We have a motion in 2 seconds. Is there any discussion? Being none, I'll call for a vote. Record vote.
Record.
Mr. Sugar?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Motion carries. Council approves not. Unanimous. All right. Upcoming meetings and announcements. Public hearing on proposed 2026-2027 tax rate Thursday, September 10th, 2026, 5:15 p.m. Council meeting Monday, September the 14th, 2026, 5 p.m. And registrations now are being set for Holiday in the Park. And the only other action item on the agenda is to adjourn, meeting adjourned.